Friends and family around the table don't watch and don't trust CNN. There is reverence for Ronald Reagan here. But listen.
The trust is gone.
Reagan's optimism replaced by Trump's grievances.
We got to find our own way to take care of ourselves.
Reagan's disdain of big government replaced by Trump's distrust of just about everything.
I think he thinks he was stolen from him.
Still questions about the 2020 election.
And I had a lot of people who agreed with him.
Criticism of the Trump prosecutions.
But nothing about that deal is the American way. I don't think.
And this.
If you think the United States should be supporting Ukraine in the fight against Putin, raise your hand. Nobody.
You don't have to be that smart to connect the dots, right? And so is the war to cover up sins committed so you can cover your tracks? There's too much money that's been thrown over there.
You think all the NATO countries would do what Biden told them to do because he's trying to cover up some Hunter Biden business deal by...
It all depends on how Zelensky, how much dirt he has on Biden to keep the money coming.
That's out there.
No, because it's my deal, right?
Hey, well, how do you trust when you know the government has shut down Facebook and shut down Twitter and told them to not show certain news stories?
A few days here makes clear Trump's grip is very strong.
Yeah, you think so? My heavens, that's got to be one of the most amazing 10 seconds in CNN history. By a show of hands, how many of you are supporting? How many of you support continuing to financially pump up Ukraine in their war against Putin? Chirp, chirp, cricket, cricket. No one. No one. The war-mongering establishment, most particularly the Democrats, have lost the American people, who are more anti-war today than they've ever been, ever since, even at the height of the Vietnam era, as every survey shows. And now we're beginning to see a mass migration, a mass defection away from the Democrats. We're going to discover in today's video how the neocon, war-hawking Democrats are literally hemorrhaging members. This is absolutely going to make your day. It's going to make your weekend. Manchin is panicking the Democrats. Once again, they don't know what to do with Joe Manchin. The woke left is literally freaking out over Joe Manchin today and his plans for 2024. We'll talk about that. And we're going to see how what Manchin is doing here is actually part of a larger trend. A trend that has the Democrats utterly and absolutely horrified. As it turns out, Democrats are switching to the Republican Party in droves. I don't know if you know this, but this is stunning. We've got the receipts on this. And we're not just talking voters, we're talking Democrat politicians. There is, shall we say, an epidemic of Democrat politicians across the nation turning their backs on the woke left and defecting to the GOP. We got the data, we got the receipts, all that and more. While we know constitutional carry is sweeping the nation, millions of Americans and even you courageous patriots out there, you turley talkers, you're still stuck in blue or weak red states restricting your constitutional right to bear arms. Well, don't worry, gang. Countrywide Concealed is probably the quickest way to get carrying legally in the majority of the United States. That's right. You won't just be able to carry in your state, but in 84% of the whole of the US of A. It's as quick as watching a video and taking a quiz. And thanks to Countrywide Concealed, your family is that much safer from a myriad of threats no matter where you go. Getting a concealed carry license has literally never been easier. So just click on that link below and join the millions of patriots who've taken back their rights and started carrying legally with Countrywide Concealed today. All right, gang, let's dive right in here. So Joe Manchin is absolutely panicking the Democrats. The Hill is reporting that he is, quote, thinking very seriously about leaving the Democrat Party and becoming an independent before the 2024 election. Now, what's so fascinating here is that there's long been rumors that Manchin was considering this. He's been talking about this privately, but whenever he was confronted about it publicly, He always, always, always has thus far denied it. Nope, no way. Nope, no way I'm ever going to abandon the Democrat Party. No way. Now we're hearing that what he's been saying privately, he's now saying publicly. That's over. I mean, this whole, no, I'll never abandon the Democrats. No, I'm a Democrat to the day I die. That's over. Manchin is now openly, publicly declaring that it looks like he's going to abandon the Dems for 2024. This is a very, very significant development. Now, at one level, in many respects, I mean, the rationale for this is obvious. Democrats are going extinct in West Virginia. Okay, West Virginia used to be a reliable old Southern Democrat state, represented by the likes of Robert Byrd, Jay Rockefeller. But over the last 8 years, West Virginia has amassed one of the most impressive Republican supermajorities in the entire nation. In fact, Trump stomped Biden by a 40-point margin, 70-30, twice. Every single county in West Virginia, every single county voted for Trump twice by massive margins. The Democrats are going extinct in West Virginia. And in line with that, Manchin's polling is at an all-time low, obviously. He knows that unless he radically distances himself from the Democrats, he's shot. He's politically dead. I mean, look at this poll. Republican Jim Justice has a 22-point lead over Manchin for the upcoming Senate contest there in 2024. 54-32. You don't come back from deficits like that, not if you're a sitting senator. So Manchin knows that if he wants to have any political career extending beyond next year, he has to do two things. He's got to ditch the Democrats, and he's got to run for office other than the Senate, because that's lost. And so it's no coincidence that Manchin recently headlined a third-party event for a group known as No Labels, right? And what many believe has the potential to actually split the Democrat vote in 2024. That's why the Democrats are so freaked out at this. Manchin has thus far refused to endorse bumbling Biden, and he's also refused to rule out a third-party challenge. And so the fact that he headlined this political event in New Hampshire, one that deliberately aims to provide an alternative candidate to Biden, is huge, to say the least. Now, to make matters even worse, Manchin is openly affirming that he's openly admitting, confirming that he is in the process of most probably leaving the Democratic Party. In fact, the rift between Manchin and the Democrats is so bad that he's the only Democrat who turned down an event at the White House celebrating, in quotes, of course, the one-year passage of the ridiculously termed Inflation Reduction Act, which of course should be called Inflation Increase Act or something. I mean, it's not helping that liberals are freaking out over Manchin right now. They hate Joe Manchin, and they want nothing to do with him, which of course is only going to guarantee his eventual defection from a party that wants nothing to do with him anymore. Now, while Manchin is talking about becoming an independent rather than a Republican, nevertheless, his defection from the Democrats is actually part of a much larger trend that's happening across the nation. Now, this is coming by way of the Washington Free Beacon. They've just published an astonishing report that was itself first published by Politico, the left-wing lunatics over Politico, I might add, that there is a trend going on across the nation among state lawmakers that has the Democrats absolutely panicked. It actually accounts for why we're seeing, it accounts at least in part, for why we're seeing such a discrepancy between our national politics and our statewide politics. Over the last 20 years, get this, 4 times as many Democratic state lawmakers have switched to the Republican Party than the other way around. All told, 83 Democratic legislatures have defected and joined the GOP since 1994, as compared with only 23 Republicans who've become Democrats. 5 of those blue to red switches have happened just in the last year. Now, the latest to do so is Georgia State Legislator Maisha Maynard, who just a few weeks back announced her switch from the Democratic Party to the Republican Party. Maynard said it was really interesting. She said that she had finally had it with this insane party when she received severe retribution from the woke left after she had the gall, the unmitigated gall, to support a school choice bill. A school choice bill that, by the way, has over 70% support, I might add. She supported what 70% of voters wanted, but it went against the ultra woke norms of dictating to parents what their kids are supposed to learn. So she was, in her words, crucified for her support of that bill. So state legislator Manchin Maynard told her fellow Democrats to basically stick it. She's now joining the Republicans. But the larger point here is she's hardly alone. According to the same report, lawmaker after lawmaker, nearly 100 of them over the last 2 decades, have been defecting from the Democrats and joining up with the Republicans. In fact, just a couple of months back, you actually had 4 Democrats in a row, back to back, defect and join the GOP just in a single month. A lawmaker by the name of Elliot Pritt officially defected from the Democrats in West Virginia. He was preceded by Louisiana Democrat State Representative Jeremy Lacombe, who switched parties to become a Republican. Before that, North Carolina State Representative Tricia Cotham, she's a Democrat from Charlotte. She announced her decision to leave the Democrats and join the Republicans. And that was so epic because it officially gave North Carolina a Republican supermajority in their state house. Back in November, the Republicans won a supermajority in the Senate, and they fell just 1 seat short in the House. But with this Democrat defector, North Carolina joined the growing list of Republican supermajority in our nations. Republicans now have an astonishing, if you can believe this, 25 supermajorities throughout the nation. That's an incredible political dominance at the state level. And again, it suggests that the federal takeover by the GOP is just a matter of time. It's a matter of when, not if, right? It's only a matter of when the GOP finally has our blowout election, which we'll talk about in a moment, our blowout national election that finally relegates the Democrats, hopefully, to permanent minority status. I mean, we got a glimpse of it in 2010. We got a glimpse of it in 2014, GOP majorities in both the House and the Senate. And then Trump's, of course, extraordinary win in 2016 when he won first Republican to win over 300 electoral votes in over 30 years. But again, the key here, the big picture here, is that this is all part of a pattern where Democrats are defecting to the Republican Party at a rate of 4-1. There are 4 Democrats becoming Republicans for every 1 Republican becoming a Democrat. That's an astonishing discrepancy, and one that's remained constant over the last 20 years. Now, this is all happening at the same time that Republicans this year have finally upended a decades-long trend in terms of voter identification. The latest Gallup poll on political self-identification, as of right now, has 45% of the public identifying as Republicans and only 42% considering themselves Democrats. Now, you got to understand how significant that is in terms of Gallup's self-identity, political self-identification polling. Henry Olsen of the Washington Post pointed out that Republicans have led or been tied with Democrats in these partisan self-identification polls only twice in the last 90 years. The Republicans are literally polling today better than they have in literally 90 years.